Welcome everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to take a look at a Robin Zander solo album, a technically unreleased one. I mean, it was released digitally for a matter of hours and then pulled. It's called Countryside Boulevard. Officially came out back in 2011, but pulled immediately. And I wanted to talk about this here because it's technically an unreleased album by him, and it's a fantastic album. And if you can come across it like I did and pick up a copy, there were copies that were printed up and sent out for reviewers to do and things like that. And so there are some out there floating around that you can get your hands on, and we'll dive into that. But before we go any further, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please click the button. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music. Just like this, taking a look at the Robin Zander solo album, Countryside Boulevard. And so of course, Robin Zander coming from Cheap Trick, being the lead vocalist, and that's really why we're here to talk about him. Got my Cheap Trick shirt on here for the whole occasion. And Cheap Trick started back in '73. Didn't put out their first album until '77, and then didn't really hit it big until '79 with the At Budokan, the live album that had the song I Want You to Want Me redone on it. The live version is the one that really hit big with that, of course, and they've grown and grown since then. Actually inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame back in 2016, and they're still going strong today. They've got a new album coming out in the next month or two, so definitely keep an eye out for that. But as I said, we want to talk about his solo album. Now, prior to this, Robin Zander did put out a solo album in 1993, a self-titled album. This was on Interscope and produced by Jimmy Iovine. It sounds like, typical traditional Cheap Trick style music that's on this. But for this one here, Countryside Boulevard, as the title suggests, it was really intended to be his country album. And now it's not as quite as country as you might expect. It does have a fiddle player, and it does focus more on sort of rootsy rock, folkish style music. There is a slide guitar. There are the elements that lean it towards country, but Robin Zander still sings, as we all know and love, in his same vocal style. He doesn't try to do anything different. The cool thing is that he actually redoes one of the songs off of here. The last track on here, Walking Shoes, reappears on this. And then he redoes a Cheap Trick song, the song that's called, Love Comes. And it's off of this 1985 album, Standing on the Edge. And so you do get two versions of songs that we've already heard done in a more country-fied style, which is kind of interesting. And what I want to talk about here with this is that there's not a lot of information out here on this. And I've read some things that suggested that this actually started out as a band project called Countryside that later developed into it being a solo album for him. And the players that are on this are kind of who's who of the country world and the session world and things like that. Let me rattle this off because this information is not readily available and out there. Brett Warren and Brad Warren, Warren Brothers, if you know them, have had some country albums out. I actually grew up in the Tampa, Florida area where the Warren Brothers were actually under the name Saint Warren and did the whole hair band style album and things like that. So there's some interesting music out there of a different style if you're fans of theirs. But they're on here: guitar, harmonica, mandolin, piano, backing vocals, and all that sort of stuff. Sarah Buxton is on here. Tom Bukoff is on here. Tom Buchanan, Chad Cromwell. Then we got JT Cornflois. Sorry if I'm not saying the name right. Dan Dugmore, Tim Lauer, Glenn Wolf, Larry Franklin, Perry Coleman, and then of course we got Robin Zander doing background vocals with the Countryside singers that are on here. And so that makes up the band that's on this. It's produced by Chris Lindsay. All of these people well known within the country world. And then as far as the songs go and who wrote what on here, again, I've seen a lot on the message boards. A lot of people aren't very clear as to what's what on here. But I find some of this stuff interesting because it seems like there's some outtakes on here. Like we've got Every Dog, the opening track, Walking Shoes, on here. Both of those are 1993 and are from that self-titled album that came out at that time, from those sessions. Then we've got on here The Ballad of Jean and Me and Heart of Glass. Those tracks on here from 1988. And followed by What's Her Name? That's a co-write with Robin Zander on that one. And then we've got, that one's actually from 1993 as well. So May in Fact Be from the 1993 solo album Sessions. We then got I Wonder What You're Doing Tonight. That's also 1993, could very well be from those sessions. Then Pamela Jean and Say You Will. Both of those are Danny Korchmar and J.D. Souther. J.D. Souther coming from the Eagles world, co-writing with them and playing with them. We've got Was I Wrong? That's another co-write with Robin Zander. Love Comes, that was the Cheap Trick song that he wrote with, of course, Rick Nielsen. Redoing it here, the original one from 1985. Then we've got Save the Last Dance, which is a cover tune, and the last one, it references on here You Are My Sunshine, the classic 1940 song. Not sure where that one fits in. It's not a hidden track on here. There may be elements of it worked in somewhere and they had to credit it, and or it was just left off. But that's the songwriting credit and the band and the things of that nature that's on here. And as I said, this isn't a straight up country album. The opening track is a pretty straight ahead, sort of rockin', Cheap Trick style song. If you've got a self-titled solo album, it's within that vein there. Walking Shoes, of course, comes from that and is a bit more countrified. But the third track, The Ballad of Jean and Me, that one's where the fiddle really breaks out on it, and you get that, and you get more of the slide guitar. And Heart of Glass, the follow-up, is the same sort of thing. So there's certain tracks on here that are definitely more countrified. But for me, it's just like a bit more of an Americana style album with Robin Zander. There are full-on elements of the Cheap Trick style and sound within this. I think it's a great album if you can hunt it down, that sort of thing, and would highly recommend it if you're a fan of Robin Zander and Cheap Trick. It's just a little bit of a different style. Let's take a look at this. There's the back side of it. It was supposed to come out on Big 3 Records, which is the label that they had worked on for a while for a number of their releases. This is the inside of it. They're definitely getting that whole country vibe with him in the pickup truck and the dog. And of course, you got that on the front there. And if we pop out the disc, you get another great shot there. We pop the disc down for a minute and pull out the booklet. And I'll show you the inside of that. And I've seen a few of these. There's one of these being sold right now for 21 bucks on eBay. It's got a little bit different look to it than the one that I've got here. I can't really say whether the one I have or this one or another one, which is a real one, because of course the thing was never officially released. This one has all the information from the Big 3 Records. I did pick it up right around 2011. When I saw that it was pulled and it wasn't happening, I immediately started searching eBay for a copy, and I picked this one up here. The way that this one is done is very reminiscent of the way Big 3 was doing their promos at the time and sending them out. So I do think I have an original copy, albeit it is a printed burned copy, but that is how they were doing these at that time. So I do think it's an original one. I could be wrong on it. Regardless, I've got the music, and that's the most important of all of this. So again, bottom line on this, I think if you're a Cheap Trick fan, I think it's a really interesting release. It's definitely worth hearing. It's not so far left field in the country world that a Cheap Trick fan can't enjoy it. So I do recommend checking it out. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you've heard this, if you like it, if you've been able to check out a copy, or if you're still hunting for it, that sort of thing. I think all those things are kind of interesting. All right, everyone, have a great day, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Bye-bye.